I claim not to have controlled events, but confess plainly that events have controlled me. Abraham Lincoln. Lincoln, are we like the captain at the helm steering and charting our precarious course through our life's journey? Some would view the experience as a quest or destiny. Youth has a dynamic that demands the journey be taken. Amid college life in Appleton, Vermont, the young Tom Loftus joins the elite special operations group called the Young Panthers. He also falls in love with Kathleen Grady, an upperclassman English major. Smitten might be an apt description of how Loftus feels about Kath. The pressures from the Panthers are about to befall Mr. Loftus as the relationship with Kath deepens, and they talk about settling down in Appleton. Senior members of the Panthers are conducting simulated war games when a wild CCP gang attacks Loftus's unit. Loftus's action under live fire earned him the attention and praise of the highest members of the Panthers, Vernon Crawford, Frank DeLuca, and Nate Allsworthy, who is the director of the service. They want him to join immediately. Events are controlling Tom Loftus, but Tom Loftus now must choose the direction of this life. For love of country or wanting to emulate his hero Panther Nick Burton, Loftus chooses to become a Panther. He recants but then decides to leave Kath behind and board a bus to New York City on the way to Texas and basic training. Instead of marrying Kath, a woman he truly loves, Loftus's journey on the road ahead is uncharted. He meets Zach Grasso, who will become his loyal and best friend. He will become extremely close to Vernon Crawford, his mentor, and Frank DeLuca, his case officer. Later, the director, Nate Allsworthy, and Nick Burton himself will rely on Loftus as a confidant and valiant warrior. John Garvey and Harmon Mundy are sketchy individuals who will rise to power and be just as conniving and backstabbing as when he first met them. Loftus and Zach are later assigned to fight in the pending Chinese conflict. Another thing about Loftus's life journey is the molding of his character. Combat and camaraderie transform him into an unshakable, loyal soldier and survivor. They are attacked by Chinese transhumans on Taiwan and are aided by an unknown entity in a brutal battle. Even being so close to death, Loftus still refrains from any religious beliefs, even though Vernon Crawford is certain he will someday believe reality. Weapons are now in play. One of the futuristic weapons, if misused, can commence the chain reaction threat to the entire universe. Loftus demonstrates his heroism, but he is captured and brought to a re-education camp. Under Chinese torture, he becomes battle-toughened in heart and mind. DeLuca and Allsworthy negotiate with the Chinese to extricate Loftus from the re-education camp. Loftus returns stateside after severe torture. Kath has married, and she and Professor John Putnam have a son. Loftus now realizes he could not have both Kath and the service, and the anguish will not go away. He and Zach spend the next 4 years on special assignments around the globe as he compartmentalizes Kath's new life. Nate Allsworthy gets in the race for the presidency, and Zach and Loftus are recruited to work security. Loftus becomes friends with Jenny Foucher, a campaign advisor to Allsworthy, and the campaign begins with the primaries. Then the head of security is murdered, and Loftus rises to director of security. Allsworthy decides to reward Loftus for his extraordinary service in China when he brings him through property in Sausalito, California. Then they are off to Allsworthy's nomination in Long Beach. With Loftus in charge, Allsworthy's yacht explodes with Nick Burton, Jen Foucher, the campaign staff, and Allsworthy dead. Loftus and Zach months later are summoned by the service attorney, and they construct a restaurant called The Loft. It was time to move on from the deadly past to places unknown. Sojourn, the Shanghai Incursion by Robert P. Fitton, is sold at Amazon in paperback, and the audiobook is available on Audible. It is by going down into the abyss that we recover the treasures of life. Where you stumble, there lies your treasure. Joseph Campbell.